This is Tuesday, July 10th. There are 8 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2018. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
It's the final countdown. The final countdown.
Good evening, all. I am your host, James Riley, and yes, it is just 8 days until San Diego Comic-Con. Joining me on the podcast tonight, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
And for the first time this year, I think, outside Comic-Con herself, Kim Twombly.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
And our special guest this evening, Mr. Kevin Eastman.
Hi, everybody. Thrilled to be here.
All right, so we will be taking questions for Kevin at the end of his segment. So if you have any questions, go ahead and send them on in. You can tweet us at SD_comic_con or use the hashtag SDConCast. We will also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment there. All right, so Carrie, why don't you kick us off here?
Sure.
Am I ready?
Not at all. Not at all today. All right. Kevin, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, which surely is no one listening, why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Kevin Eastman. I am the official co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and lifelong comic book fan, and I have been attending the San Diego Comic-Con since 1985. Have not missed a year since, and I'm still just as excited to go next week as I was the first time I went. Maybe I was more excited the first time, but I still cannot wait to go.
That's awesome. Speaking of this year, can you give us a quick rundown of what you're actually doing this year at Comic-Con?
Sure. Without giving all specific times, because I can't memorize everything, they can always go to KevinEastmanStudios.com, and I have my list of all the events that are going to be at specifically. But I am doing an IDW signing. I'll be signing at Booth 1000 Planet Awesome. I'm doing a number of panels, some Turtles, some personal, talking about some of the new projects I have going on, but of course, all things Turtles always. And hopefully, I'll get enough time where I can run around the comic books, run around the con floor and buy some stuff.
That's the best part.
The best part, yes, absolutely.
So you mentioned you've been going for 33 years, and you started in 1985, which is very soon after you started doing the Turtles comic. What's it like throughout the years going as a creator and then just shifting through the different years of different projects? Like you moved to being a publisher after a certain point. What's it been like, seeing the evolution of Comic-Con while also evolving yourself and how you're interacting with fans in the business?
Well, definitely, I would say it's very intertwined on a number of levels. Like you said, the first Turtle comic book was published in May of 1984. July of 1985 was our first attendance at Comic-Con. And throughout every year that we came back to Comic-Con, we saw the Turtles evolve to, 1986, the Turtles publishing had grown, was becoming more popular. We actually had more than one or two people in line, which was awesome. To 87, we had started the development on the Turtles cartoons and the toys and expansion of the company. And again, sales continue to grow from such loving support from all these fans that have kept me in the best job in the universe my entire life. To 1988, when the first cartoons had come out, to the first toys had come out, and then things really kind of started changing dramatically. We go through the early Turtle movies to the creation of Tundra Publishing, which I attended a few years when I had the Tundra Publishing banner, bringing a lot of creator-owned properties, and people, in some cases, artists and writers that had their first chance at publishing their own creations as opposed to something that they were doing for another publisher that owned them. Through heavy metal. I've had the heavy metal magazine, still have the heavy metal magazine booth. I'm a publisher of heavy metal to this day. We've had a booth, heavy metal's had a booth there for 20 years. So I'll be running around there, signing there. So it definitely is all tied into my growth, not only as an artist, creator, publisher, to this year. I feel like the last couple of years, I'm back to more of a creator and status as an artist and a writer and a creator as I've ever been. So I've gone through all the things to go back to square one. So going for the love and passion of comics, which is always first and foremost.
Do you, speaking of, like you said, you've you've done every iteration there is to do, like, do you have a preference?
I like right where I am right now, because it really is, for example, last year, we announced at Comic-Con that we were going to do a Kickstarter I was going back to self-publishing. So we announced a Kickstarter at Comic-Con that started in August of last year, 2017. We hit the goals that we had hoped, thanks to the support of the fans. And so this year at Comic-Con, we'll have the book that was announced at Comic-Con that I've completed. So I've spent the last year working on a dream project with a couple of other artists and creators I'm working with. So it's really, it's the greatest place to be. You know, I feel comfortable and back in there where I started, right where I started.
So you have your own studios, but I know you work closely with IDW. Is that who this book is through?
No, this is actually the book I'm doing is called Drawing Blood, and actually, interestingly enough, the concept of Drawing Blood is it's set in the world of comic books. It's about an artist that had some success early in his life, fell on hard times, and he's now looking for his creativity and finds it throughout this series. So it's a comic set within the world of comics, and that's self-published. But I still do tons and tons of work with the awesome folks over at IDW. We have the ongoing Turtle series, which it is literally the longest running Turtle series in the history of all Turtle publishing. I get to work with the incredible Tom Waltz and Bobby Curnow, of course, Ed Adams and Robbie Rollins. The whole crew is great. But we get to do the regular Turtle stuff as well as some awesome collections of the original Turtle material from so many years ago. So yeah, my association with IDW is strong, and they're a great group of people.
Yeah, and they've got the Comic Arts Gallery now for 2 years, at least, maybe longer now. But you've got the kind of studio workroom set up over there, although I'm not sure how much work you could get done in it. It's just jam-packed with everything under the sun.
Well, it's like, you know, I guess any artist, you know, or fan of the genres that I guess that we all are, is like you look around even my home studio and it's full of, you know, personal items and collections, and the latest toy I got at the comic store last week. But the home studio at the San Diego Comic Art Gallery was really a fun concept, because I curated the gallery for a couple of years for Ted and Robbie. And when they were designing it and pulling together what they wanted this gallery to say and what they wanted the gallery to be, I pitched them the idea of, why don't you let me move my home studio into the gallery space so people can see literally all this artwork on all the walls around this gallery space. This is the physical space that some goofball, mainly me, sat in and created all the, you know, stuff. So it can sort of draw that association to, there is a real human behind all the work that goes into the artwork they see on the walls there. So it's still there. All my stuff's there. It's it is my stuff, and it's a fun thing for fans to see, but it's also torture for fans, because they look around and go, "Oh, have that, need that, could never find that." And so it's
exactly. Thank you.
So I have read that Jack Kirby is your hero, your main influence. He was at Comic-Con a lot as well. Did you ever get a chance to meet him at Comic-Con?
Oh my goodness, yes. I was very, 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 very fortunate to meet Jack Kirby, and he was really such a strong influence to me. And it was Peter Laird as well. And in fact, the first time I met Peter Laird 100 years ago, I went into his tiny little studio in Northampton, Massachusetts, and he had a Jack Kirby original hanging on the wall. It was a unpublished pencil page from The Losers. And I'd never seen a Jack Kirby original in my life, and I literally nearly passed out. I'm not joking. But Peter and I bonded over Jack Kirby immediately, and as well as a fondness for each other. We started working together right away. And I believe it was the second year that we were at Comic-Con, 1986, is that I remember clearly that Peter and I were sitting at the end of, we had a friend that had a booth there. We were sitting at the end of his table. We had like 4 feet. And so we were doing our little sketches and our drawings, and we sort of heard this whisper come through the convention center. It was at the Civic Auditorium, and they're like, "Kirby's here, Kirby's here, Kirby's here." And so we dropped everything. We ran over to where he was. He'd just come into the hall, and there was already 30, 40, 50 people crowded around him. And one of my favorite moments is he just finished telling answering a question a fan asked, which was how he and Joe Simon had created Captain America and stuff. And another fan was so nervous, he asked the same exact question. And Jack Kirby answered it with the same love and passion and thrill. And he gave that fan such a wonderful moment. I thought that was like, that guy's awesome. You know, he not only loves his job, but he loves the fans. And I said, if I ever have any fans at all, I hope I can be as kind and nice to them as Jack Kirby was. So that was such a treat. And over the years, we got to meet Jack and Roz and spend such precious moments with them, and super, super nice people. Emotional for sure. He's a great guy.
I was unfortunately, I think I started going to Comic-Con right after he passed, so I never got a chance to meet him, which was really unfortunate. Which even more unfortunate was that I lived in San Diego at the time and didn't go to Comic-Con those years.
No, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to meet him. It was really, you know, I'm not trying to rub it in or anything, but I know you.
Oh no.
You can imagine, you know, this story. I'm sure you've heard more than a few Kirby stories, and he just was. He was the king for a reason. He was a super guy, and so, you know, they always say, you know, sometimes people say you should be wary of meeting your heroes because you don't want to be let down. And in this case in particular, it was nothing but it took him up a couple more notches, which he was already on a pedestal way so high. What a guy.
I think Kim had a question about the turtles again.
Surprise. So I'm still very much attached to Nickelodeon's just past Turtles incarnation, but I know they've got a new one coming out, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in September. Are you involved with that at all?
Yes, Nickelodeon not only has been such an incredible friend, you know, that I sold my rights to the Turtles probably almost 20 years ago now. You know, and just the fact that they certainly didn't need to involve me in, say, this new series, the 2012 series, we call it. But they're such nice people. They invited me up. I got to consult on it. I did a voice of one of the characters. I got to write an episode. But when they started development on the Rise of the Turtles, which is coming out this fall, they invited both Tom Waltz, head writer of the Turtles comic book, and myself up to LA to sit with the creative team, to sit with the writers, to banter around ideas, really get a focus on what they were doing as far as the direction for the series. And I know that each version of the Turtles that comes out, fans immediately sort of get a little cautious and a little protective, concerned. And in this case, I just want to remind them that you know, keep an open mind when you see the series. I've seen it. Read a lot of the stories. It's really fun. It's really different, but not. It's our heart and soul of our Turtles are still there and stronger than ever. But you know, give it a shot and make up your mind that way. But it's a super fun series. I hope people give it a chance.
And I know we've got a lot of exclusives for it coming out at Comic-Con, and I'm assuming we will see some sort of more additional footage in a Nickelodeon panel. I don't know if that's been announced, but I'm assuming we will. So that's exciting.
No, it is. You know, I love that. You know, that's what's been so fun about the Nickelodeon panels and being part of the Nickelodeon team is the episode that I wrote, which is kind of a, you know, fans used to write in and ask, you know, back even in the original Mirage days, if they wanted to see turtle babies. And so, you know, like what they were when they were babies. And so I got to write an episode called Lone Rat and Cubs that came out, and they showed the entire episode at Comic-Con last year as a special treat to the fans. And I was so proud of that and thrilled, not only to be able to share it with the fans, but it's cool that Nickelodeon did that.
That is cool that Nickelodeon did that. And I want to talk about Comic-Con a little bit more. I really want to know about your first Comic-Con. Do you even remember, like, how you would have heard about it back then? Yeah. What was it like?
It was like the legend of a faraway land that we couldn't even imagine. No, we were lucky in that we had a friend that owned a comic book store in Northampton, Massachusetts. His name is Norman Whitty, and he would do a lot of the big cons back in those days, some of the New York cons and the other ones. But he hit the highlight of his year was San Diego Comic-Con, and he used to talk about it as like the lost city of gold or Avalon or something. So we were so excited. You know, he said you would see Jack Kirby's and Dave Stevens and Frank. You'd see these people walking around in this kind of comic book centric sort of flea market meets comic fan meets. And so when he invited us, he's the one that gave us 4 feet of table space at the end of his booth that he had. And so we flew ourselves up there and got a room at the Hotel San Diego. He and I shared the room. And so when we were there, it was heaven. You know, it was like the smell. I always remember the smell was like old comic books and freshly printed comic books. There's nothing more pleasant to the sinus to the senses. So Peter and I would do. I think we were doing sketches for $3 to $4 a piece at that time. So we'd worked, you know, throughout most of the convention, doing any sketches, saving up every penny. So on Sunday we could run around and buy as much stuff, as many comics or back issues as we could fit into our suitcase and still get it on the plane home. And that was just, you know, I play it in my mind like a video.
So basically being nerds like us.
Yes. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, like I love the fact that I get to do panels. I get to meet fans. I get to see friends that I've gotten to know over the years at Comic-Con, which is such a treat, even if it's only 45-second conversations, you know, like, hi, Sergio, how are you? Great, good to see you. Or Stan Sakai or something, but I always make sure I have time to walk around the floor.
So over the years, in all of that running around purchasing, is there like a little like golden nugget that you've picked up or a little treasure that you found that you really, that's something special because you found it at Comic-Con?
I think it's, yes, I would say definitely some key back issues, especially during the day. You know, comic stores were not all that common where we lived in back east, so it would be, you know, plugging a few holes in your run of, you know, a particular comic that you had when you were a kid. You know, I didn't have Fantastic Four 64, and I need to find that, and finding that there, or getting a chance to, you know, stand in the same proximity as like a Jack Kirby, or finding a certain tchotchke, or then over the years, you know, commissioning a sketch from one of your. I remember getting a Bill Sienkiewicz sketch, and that was, you know, such a huge Electra fan, and getting to meet Bill for the first time. So there's that, all kinds of neat moments like that. Most of them I still have. I think actually in my studio at down at San Diego Comic Art Gallery, I still have my original 1985 con booklet is there on display. But yeah, I think it's more the personal moments, you know, getting to meet fans, like, you know, getting to meet Stan Sakai and so many other artists. Like, again, you only sometimes get to see at conventions.
Right, and that's something that one of my friends likes to mention, is that he collects experiences more than items now. And that's something that he really treasures over, you know, whatever latest exclusive he can pick up. It's going and having that experience of meeting someone that's your hero, like you mentioned, or just someone special, or it's that created something that you enjoy. Is that something that you find is more rewarding now?
Oh yes, for sure. But I have to tell you, I've got my list of things I'm looking for toys and exclusives this year. But no, it's like the first time I met Jean Giraud, Mobius, was at San Diego Comic-Con. You know, Neil Adams. The list is so long, but it's like just so many highlights of meeting some of my heroes was at Comic-Con. So I think those experiences, collecting those experiences is as important as any little tchotchke. But the tchotchkes are still here, and they're there.
I think we would be remiss that if we didn't ask you, like, what sort of tchotchkes are on your list this year?
Well, it's one of them's it's kind of directly related because NECA Toys is putting out this set of Turtles movie collectibles in this little display case, and that is a real treat because
I
to
bought
me,
one.
you want one?
I bought one.
Yeah. But to me, when fans always ask, what was my favorite Turtles entertainment project or thing? I mean, I always point to the first Turtle movie. It is and will always be my favorite and the best. And so I was so excited, not only because NECA does such great quality work, that you look at those
packaging,
things, like it looks like they walked right off the movie set.
Yeah,
so that's high on my list.
That was actually one of our readers, one of our listeners had a question. Comic Dude actually wanted to know, of all of the comics, cartoons, and movies, what is your favorite incarnation? And I think you just answered that.
Yeah, it was hard to, it was, and it's not just because it was the first, but it was, the Steve Barron, who did such a wonderful job directing it. I mean, the movie would never have even been remotely the success it was without Jim Henson's creature shops, literally creating magic and fabricating so many new technologies just to bring them to life. There's so many, bits of that movie, the combination of the original black and white comics with the cartoon. I don't know. It was the perfect storm, and that's my favorite.
Well, while we're on the subject of the movie, there's J.R. Wenzel on our chat asked, with the rumor of the relaunch of the Turtles movie franchise, if true, what villains would you like to see them face other than the Shredder?
Oh, man. You know what? I was always interested in, after we did the first movie back in 1990 and we did the subsequent movies, I always felt that if going back to the original Mirage comic books, early on in the series, we had them go into outer space, which I guess it's more of a personal thing, but I always liked the Triceratons, which were the bad guys that we created that ruled the universe out there. But I always liked Utrons and Krang and the Triceratons, but I think that if Paramount is, I read about it online at the same time that everybody else did. If Paramount's going to do a relaunch of the series, I'm sure they're going to sort of want to bring it back to basics, have them grounded in New York City, urban, gritty.
I think we'd all enjoy them going back to basics on that. Yeah,
that would be nice.
And we have one other question from Sir Lister of Smeg is, do you get upset at creations that have accused of ripping off the Turtles, like Battletoads, Street Sharks, and things, or do you take it as, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery?
Right. Well, you have to look at the Turtles first and foremost. I mean, it's like, it's all there. It's, Dave Sims' Cerebus, the animal parody, Jack Kirby's Commandy, mutant animals, mutants in general, New Mutants, Daredevil Origin, Frank Miller's Ronin for the cover. I mean, the Turtles, blatantly practically ripped off everything that was popular in comics at the time and put them into a blender for its creation. And we did it under parody. No, it was a real love poem to us, to the things that we grew up, things that we loved about comic books that we put into that story. But it was highly influenced on the giants Peter and I stood on the shoulders of, the guys that inspired us and the women that inspired us to write and draw. So when you saw adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters come out shortly after Turtles, and mildly microwave prepubescent gophers, and I think we counted something like 19 or 20 adjective, noun sort of parodies. And to us, it was, these people want the same thing we want. We wanted to be in this business. We wanted to create. We wanted to write and draw and tell stories. So the fact that we took it as flattering that they were trying to do the same thing. I think there was later an element of people doing it just to make a quick buck, but I think most of the people, at least initially, wanted to do it because their intentions were sincere and they wanted to draw comic books with us. So we didn't mind it at all.
Well, that's cool. And I remember seeing that adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters on the shelf at the comic shop down in San Diego where I shopped.
I bought them all.
So on a different track, you mentioned heavy metal and that you've been publishing it for about 20 years now?
Yes, yep.
So, and that's almost like a completely different world than the Turtles. I mean, what's that been like, bringing that back, or, bringing it more forward with and integrating comics more into the heavy metal world? I think because you started bringing more comic artist world into it because it was mainly European artists and things like that. So, I mean, what's been the journey with that like over the years?
What's fantastic is, and it's a story that is obviously true, but it's when I discovered Heavy Metal magazine in 1977, bought the first issue. I was too young to buy it. The guy sold it to me anyway, and it changed my life. So I thanked the person profusely. And that was first early issues of Heavy Metal. They published not only Mobius and Belial and a lot of European artists, but there was Von Bodie, Richard Corbin, Bernie Wrightson with Captain Stern. There were a number of, at least initially, American artists. And what was great about discovering Von Bodie and Richard Corbin, it led me to underground comics. And so the world of underground publishing, where you had, you know, Gilbert Shelton and Dave Sheridan and Robert Crumb, and the world of self-publishing. And that exposure to that led me to Dave Sim when he evolved in 1976, 77, when he started publishing. So fast forward to Turtles are created, and it wasn't like, it was at that point where Pete and I were like, we don't want to sell this to anybody else. We like this. And there's self-publishers are out there that are following, you know, living this dream because they're out there and they're owning their characters, owning their creations and doing it. So that heavy metal led me to self-publishing. Self-publishing led me to the success of the Turtles. Pete and I had a profit from the success of the Turtles. So when heavy metal came up for sale in 1990, I used Turtle money to buy heavy metal. So heavy metal helped me buy Heavy Metal magazine. This whole story. But no, I love Grant Morrison took over as editor-in-chief 3 years ago now. We have other owners and investors in the company, and we're still continuing to grow and make it something that's unique and special, and that we have art and artists from all corners of the world, all found in one magazine 6 times a year. So proud that we have the support that we have for the company and the magazine.
That's really cool. The whole circle of life there with that magazine.
It's twisted. I mean, I've got an issue of, and I knew I had made it in 1985. Matt Howarth did a review of the first issue of the Turtles in Heavy Metal magazine, and I just about lost my mind. There was no higher compliment to me. I made it. Look, we got a review of the Turtles in Heavy Metal magazine. Yeah, and he had nice things to say about it.
That's really cool. I'm going to check really quick for any more reader questions here, and I don't see any.
Yeah, I talked too much. I think I answered all the questions.
No, not at all. This has been fun. All right. Well, before we let you go, Kevin, why don't you tell our readers where they can find you online and at the convention?
The convention, I'm going to be everywhere and all at once. No, if you go to KevinEastmanStudios.com, it's the official, my official website and fan site for me and all things Turtles. And we always post when we do conventions, especially the big one, we do San Diego Comic-Con, a list where I'm going to be, what panels I'm going to be, where they can find me, what rooms, and what signing times and things that we're doing, so they can check there. And yeah, I guess, you know, anything I'm doing, whether it's new projects or Turtle stuff or just zany, nutty Kevin Eastman stuff, go online and visit my website. It's got some fun stuff. There's a lot of fun historical things, old photographs, and a lot of nutty stuff on there.
We like nutty stuff around here. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for coming on today. This has been really awesome, and I hope we see you next week, which is crazy.
I know. I love it. Like, we were playing the final countdown at the beginning. I'm like, oh, I got goosebumps. You know, I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Will be
So close.
so close. But thank you. I had a great time talking with you all, and thanks for inviting me on, and look forward to seeing you around the con floor.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
Kevin.
so much, Kevin.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Kevin and Courtney.
All right.
News.
Woo. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Does that go out live, or is it the?
We're
I
live.
see you.
We're live.
We're still live. You're still on.
Close the tab.
You can just
Hi, everybody. I was looking at your dog in the background.
Yes, they're everywhere.
We have three wiener dogs. They're awesome.
Aw,
They're
that's
like-
cool.
They're all like 12, 13 years old, so I call them the Golden Girls now, because they're just basically these. They're all three. They just walk around like, give me some more food, carry me into the backyard.
That means
That's
you have to
amazing.
go over to the ABC booth and get some of the Golden Girls exclusives
Yeah.
for your dog to play with, right?
Seriously though, if you haven't seen them, like ABC is literally doing like Golden Girls Comic-Con specific exclusives this year, and they're amazing.
Are you kidding? I'm definitely.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm in.
Right?
Shirts, socks, you know, whatever you need. Mugs, hats, I don't know.
I
All
want a
your
bandana.
Golden Girls merch, yeah.
Golden Girls bandana. Rebel.
I like it. All right.
All right, folks. Have a
Right.
good night.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Well, let's get to the news, I guess. There's been none of that.
No news at all.
No. Oh
Okay,
my
we're done.
gosh.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, and just to warn you guys, I'm like seriously loopy at this point, so it's gonna be fun.
Carrie's been working hard on all this news, everyone, so we'll be nice to her.
Yes. Wait.
Okay.
We
What?
have to be nice to Carrie? Oh, man.
No, you don't have to be nice to me. You just don't have to expect much.
Okay, so let's start off with the first, the big news, which is the Hall H wristband process was announced, and there is really only one major change, and that's the RFID scanning of your badge when they give you the wristband. So according to what we can figure out is when you are lined up and they start to hand out the wristbands, they're going to check your badge to make sure you have it, or your paperwork if you have a next day badge. Then they will hand you a wristband, and then this is where it's a little murky as to when they scan it. It says when you leave, and that means either when you leave the line, or I'm guessing when they move the line to where the line is supposed to be, they will scan your badge and confirm that your wristband is on your wrist. So they are only going to scan people who have...
That seems needlessly complicated, though. Like, why not just scan it as they're handing you a wristband?
Well,
I feel as though this was probably poorly worded.
I think the idea is that they're only going to scan people who have a wristband on, so that the wristband can't be given to other people, and so that they can confirm that each person only has one wristband.
Well, but wouldn't it make more sense to, like, they'll hand you a wristband, they'll scan your badge there so that they can ensure, like, the person with the wristband is the one. I don't know.
I think the only reason why is that someone will probably figure out a way to try and game the system again. So this is probably just their initial way that they think that is going to limit the amount of gaming that can be done.
Either way, the point is that they will not be scanning your badge.
And then, just as usual, they'll be scanning as you walk in the next morning.
Yes, that is exactly what it means. So we'll see how that works on, I guess, Wednesday night of next week. Which, again, saying next week terrifies me.
And how many people are going to be there on Wednesday night? I mean, do we expect there are going to be more than a few?
4,000? No, absolutely not. Again, we already did our podcast breakdowns, but I would just like to reiterate, unless you want to be in the front of the room, there's no reason whatsoever to camp out for like anything this year. Right. Like there's literally, like, I do not feel there is a single panel that you can't get into this year, like, without first sleeping in a hotel bed.
Everyone get some sleep, please.
That's just crazy talk, though. I mean,
I know. And there's still going to be like hundreds of people lined up just because that's the culture at Comic-Con. And so when you see that line, you're going to be like, the blog lied, but those people went in at the front of the room, or they just want to say that they camped up.
Yeah, for some reason.
Out. Yes.
They want to put in the work.
Which, hey, more power to you. I will be sleeping in my bed for the first time, like, in, I think, ever since I've been at Comic-Con, and I'm very excited about that.
All right, so the other news was, let's see. Kim, why don't you let us know what the next big news is?
We have Deadpool coming from 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment. Deadpool 2, and we knew they were going to be in Hall H with friends, whatever that means. And they've got this dance party happening at their booth, which is animatronic, and I don't know, that just scares me. So we'll see what that's going to be.
The thing is that it says the X-Force characters are the animatronics, so I think they might have a Deadpool character to do some of the dancing, and then the animatronics to do the rest. And yes, it sounds. I think it's going to be appropriately Deadpool.
I can't wait to see that.
If I were 20th Century Fox or Ryan Reynolds, I would be like, you know what? Let's just literally put Ryan Reynolds in like a crappy Deadpool outfit and send him out there. No one will believe it's him.
So they're going to have also, and it's at the Hard Rock, right? Is the Deadpool Dream Suite.
Yeah.
And there's links on our site on how to enter to either stay in? Is it staying in it?
You win one night, Saturday night. You can stay in
Wow.
the most expensive suite at the Hard Rock, which has been modeled and filled with stuff to look like Deadpool's apartment.
So it's going to be very crappy.
Yes. And also, a limited number of people will win a chance to actually go see the apartment on, I think it's Friday. And that's basically, they said they're just looking for Deadpool super fans around the convention and Gaslamp.
Yeah. And then they've also got some exclusive items and pre-sales for the Blu-ray that you can go check out.
They're doing it up, in other words.
Yes.
And don't forget, they're also doing the screening of the extended cut in the Horton.
And the Hall H panel. So there's just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about autographs. As by now you should hopefully know, Fox and WB are part of the online exclusives portal, but that doesn't mean that there aren't still autograph drawings and sales. It's just not for WB and Fox, basically. So Comic-Con International today released the list of signings taking place in the autograph area. And there's basically 3 different parts to this. There's the groups, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's like groups of people and individuals who don't require a ticket draw. And that's going to be people like John Barrowman, Benedict Wong, or Nichelle Nichols, Matt Taylor. Basically, you just walk up to their booth. Some of those are going to be paid. Some of them won't. You probably won't know until you get there. But they also have limited signings, which are things like Star vs. the Forces of Evil, DuckTales, Adam Savage, Voltron, Steven Universe. And for those, you're going to have to head up to sales at 9 a.m. and draw a ticket for a ticket in the autograph area. In that same area will also be the drawing for the Horton Grand panels. So if you want to do any of that, make sure you head up to the sales pavilion to the autograph area, and they say 9 a.m., but a lot of times it starts a little bit earlier. So I would plan on being there a little bit before 9.
And then we also had some other interesting news from Comic-Con.
Yeah, so they're making some pretty big changes, actually, to professional badge holders for 2019. And for professional badge holders, it's kind of like, hey, we can't wait to see you at Comic-Con. Now, please go fill out this application that's due on August 16th, right after the convention. And what they're doing is, for 2019, there's normally 2 different categories of professional badges. There's creative professionals and then trade professionals, and they're a little bit different. And you can go read about the differences on our site if you really care. But basically, they will be combining them for 2019. So there's only going to be one group. And it sounds very much like they are going to be giving preference to what used to be the creative group, which is going to be people who work in comics, animation, literature, over film and TV.
Not just giving preference to the creative side, but specific creative side.
Yes.
Which, like you mentioned, the writers, the artists, the animators, basically people who draw and write are going to have preference over people who do other things, like video game creators maybe won't necessarily, may not be, or people who create toys maybe won't be as high on the list. Like they may bring in an artist before they'll bring in someone else that does some other form of art.
And I believe they even specifically mentioned that. They said everyone else, including those in film, TV, toy, and apparel design and other related industries, are still welcome to apply, but will be considered on an individual basis, which basically means if that applies to you, you're second tier, more or less.
Yeah.
So that's some pretty big changes for professional badge types. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. But it's potentially good news for general attendees, because maybe that means that they're taking away a couple badges from those categories. Maybe it means that they're trying to strengthen up the criteria to get one of those badges. It's just very interesting.
All right. And also today, big news, which we expected any day now, and we got it, was the bags. The Warner Brothers bags came out today.
Yep. And in fact, if you were paying attention to our Twitter also during this podcast, the Sabrina bag also finally got revealed.
Yes, and that means the only ones not revealed are the movie bags, which they never reveal until you walk in and are lucky enough to get one. And then apparently we did an informal poll today, and Nebo,
I think that's how we say it. Yeah.
from Legends of Tomorrow is apparently the most sought after bag, and that's just it's hilarious, and it's crazy that they would actually put that on the bag. It's kind of crazy.
It's cool though. And I wanted to clarify one thing because I thought this was really funny. In that poll, we had so many people who were like, I want the bag that says Comic-Con on it. That's actually the back of all of the bags. So you're going to get that no matter what.
Oh, and also pins are back. There are DC heroes. And there's, I think it's 12 pins as well.
I think it's 11, but yeah.
Designs. So there will be a plethora of combinations of bags and pins.
Yes. And I wanted to mention too, because someone on our Twitter said it earlier, and I'm just going to reiterate her point. She said that she was a volunteer last year and she got yelled at by so many people who were like coming up to sales and basically stealing the pens to try to collect all of them. And then they ran out, and then people were mad at the volunteers for that. Don't do that. Don't steal the pens. Don't go yell at the volunteers. Okay? Be nice.
That was a good reminder. Be nice to our volunteers.
Please be nice to everyone at Comic-Con.
Yes.
But especially the volunteers, okay? Like, they are there doing like God's work, basically, to make your convention easier. Be nice to them, please.
Please. And then we had a lot of signing information released this week, including details on the Twin Peaks signings, which basically they're going to be in the autograph area Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but they'll also be at the Entertainment Earth booth in groups on Friday. So if you need that information, that is on our site. And unfortunately, Cheryl Lee has had to cancel her appearance, which is a bummer.
It is a bummer.
And Kim, are you up next with... let me see. What do we have?
Here, I can do.
You want the next one?
Oh, yeah, I'll do the next one. So Entertainment Earth, I think we have... No, we've already talked about that. Shout Factory. Shout Factory announced a couple of autographs this week, including a signing with some of the Mystery Science Theater 3000 cast, including Felicia Day and Steve Vance. They've also got artist Paul Shipper. They've got Alex Hurst, who's the creator of Gravity Falls. You can find all of that information on our site.
And then we've got Conan is decorating up Gaslamp. We knew about the trolley a few weeks ago, but and then the airport was decorated for anyone flying in. You'll be greeted with Team Coco celebrating 25 years of fan art on the carousels, on the walls, on the staircase. It's everywhere. Photos of that on our site. And I think we were talking about it later, but I just want to mention that the tickets to Conan Wednesday and Thursday emails have gone out and they're closed and show us sold out, but Friday and Saturday are still open for people to enter that lottery.
Friday emails have been going out though. I haven't seen you Saturday though.
Okay.
All right. What else do we have? Let's find out, because I was somewhere else in the outline.
So many things.
So many things. Dark Horse released their signing schedule. As we mentioned, there's a ton of signing information out there now, and we have gathered all of it in our autograph.
As much as we can, yeah.
As much as we can, yes. All the information about the Comic-Con signings that we talked about earlier, that will not be on our signings because it's up in sales, and Comic-Con has that all listed for you, and it's all nice and organized. We get everything else from booths and offsites and all that kind of information. And that includes the newest Dark Horse signing information, which they will have 2 stages for signings. And I think most, if not all of them, are going to be ticketed. And some of them are very limited ticketed and limited items. And I saw someone somewhere ask what no posed photography means. And that means you can't ask them to stop while they're signing and take a picture, whether that's with you in it or not. And so the only way you can get a picture is while you're standing in line, walking near them, and get a picture while they're signing.
Yeah.
You can't stop them from doing their signing.
Yep.
So that's about it for all of the major news. There's obviously more news coming all the time.
And then you can check out our site like 24/7.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few other questions here that we may be able to answer real quick, and then we'll get on to the offsites. And speaking of offsites, CJ Lau asked, when an offsite says they require a badge or you get priority access, do you need a badge that is for that particular day? Like if you only have Thursday and Sunday? What's the answer to that?
It really just depends on the offsite is really the answer.
And I'd recommend having if it's not the day, recommend bringing your printout so you can show them that you have a badge if you don't have it yet. Yeah, it depends on what the person running the offsite wants to do, though.
And it can literally vary one volunteer at the offsite to the next. So it never hurts to ask.
Yes, exactly.
And then ask again.
Yeah. Go ask someone else.
Exactly. Sakura K asked, any idea if we can pick up lanyards and bags on preview night if we don't have preview night tickets? I don't think you can, right?
People ask this every year, and my answer every year is exactly the same. Your mileage may vary. I know that they don't like you to. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a volunteer who will let you up to do it. If you're going to do it, I would not plan on going first thing. If you show up at 2 in the afternoon, they're going to be get lost. But if you show up at 5 or 6 p.m. after they've been open a couple of hours, they might be more likely to let you in. But again, it never hurts to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Asking. It's a novel idea. And then we have, let's see, any of the others. We're going to talk about Conan. For anyone with Conan questions, we'll talk about Conan in just a minute. And we'll talk about, the process and all of that. And for panel giveaway goodies, Black Belt Jose asked about a specific one, Viz Media. But in general, panel goodies are handled in 2 ways. They will either have someone there, a group of people, handing out the item row by row, or they will be handing out a ticket row by row, and then you have to take that ticket or the convention ends. I think it runs until 2 hours after the convention ends on Sunday. You have to take it over to the Hyatt, to the redemption room, and pick up your item there using the ticket that they give you.
Yes.
Those are the only 2 ways that giveaways happen in a room, besides the ones where the person on the panel says, I'm going to be giving away stuff, and then they give stuff away from the podium while people are asking questions. That's obviously just whatever someone may randomly decide to bring and give out. But for the room giveaways, that's how they handle those.
Yeah. Okay. I want to take a couple quick questions, quick fire. Steve M asked, will Kid Robot Bob's Burger signing be first come or ticketed? First come, first serve. And then Amber Elliott says Bob's Burgers is on the exclusive portal. It is, but that's different. That is the signing at the Fox booth. There's also one at Kid Robot. The one at Kid Robot is going to be first come, first serve. Scott Mueller asked, any offsite for Mr. Robot? I believe no. The fact that USA announced that they were bringing the Purge offsite and nothing else. And when I asked my contact, so is this Purge offsite what you've been working on? And she said, yes, it is. I took that to mean that's all I'm working on. Let's see here. Amber Elliott asked, know anything on the My Hero Academia film screening yet? It was either Comic Book Resources or Bleeding Cool who first announced that was happening. I have heard literally nothing else about it. And then the fact that it wasn't on the panel schedule and we're so close to the convention now suggests to me that they may have had their information incorrect. So I don't know anything about that. It's entirely possible that that's not happening. That's what I've got. Oh, and then Dave Weber just asked, what's the word on RSVP for Sci-Fi Party? Coming soon. I checked today.
That's 2 words, Carrie. That's 2 words.
Okay. Soon.
There you go.
Nailed it.
All right, so let's get to the offsites.
Shall we? All right. So, you put my name by the good place. That was so kind of you.
Oh, that was any doubt there, right?
Right? Okay, so to my absolute delight, NBC is basically turning the gas lamp into the Good Place neighborhood. And I mean that quite literally. They are going to be turning, what is it? The Gaslamp Square in front of the Hard Rock and the Omni into like a literal rendition of
Their
the Good
usual
Place.
spot by the Tin Fish.
Yeah, but that whole area is going to be set up like the Good Place neighborhood. And then at the actual Tin Fish, we'll be getting a makeover and become Good Plates. And they're going to have a special menu themed to the show. And the cool thing about that, too, is 50% of sales from if you order off that menu will actually go to No Kid Hungry, which is a charity aimed towards ending childhood hunger. You can pre-register for the experience starting tomorrow, Wednesday, July 11th. I don't know that that means anything for like front of the line access. I suspect that that may just mean like pre-register to save yourself time when you get there. But we don't know. NBC is also bringing a Manifest Lounge to the Hard Rock Hotel, which will have an oxygen bar. And I am sincerely hoping that that means that they'll have like the little mask from the airplane that you can like put on your face, because that's what it should be. It'll have charging stations and a preview of the new series. And then they also announced the cast list for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if you are as excited about that as I am. That's what I got.
And my only bummer with that is that Andre Braugher's not coming, which was, I think having him come to Comic-Con would be amazing.
It would be amazing. And
But
as
we get the rest of the cast, like the entire rest of the cast, basically.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, well.
All right. What else we got, Kim?
Conan, we already kind of talked about it. Tickets are coming. Well, this is tickets now available, but if you would have heard today for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday tapings. And then Friday and Saturday are still open to enter their lottery. But do that soon if you're going to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So the process, let's go over the process. So you're going to get an email saying time to claim your tickets, basically, right?
Yeah, it looked like spam. I thought it was spam. Or I thought it was like a, advertising email.
But you can also go into your One Iota account and check your tickets and see what the status is and whether or not you've been removed from the wait list and you have tickets.
And sometimes that happens before you get the email, so you can check early. But yeah, like Kim said, as of right now, Wednesday through Friday tickets have gone out. They may still be going out. I have no idea. I haven't seen anyone with Saturday, at least before we hopped on this podcast.
And generally, a lot of the questions people are asking, because obviously new people get selected every year. So what is the general process for picking up your tickets and the timing?
Their ticket window, which is on the side of the Spreckles, opens at 9 a.m. I lost the page I was reading from.
It's technically open till 3, but I would not suggest waiting that long.
Right.
Basically, until last year, you could pretty much show up until 2 to claim your tickets, and they were basically guaranteed. But last year, I don't know if they just way oversold or if there was a weird error. I don't know, but each day they were sold out of tickets by, I would say, probably noon at the latest. So you definitely want to get over there in the actual morning.
Yeah. You don't have to be there waiting in line at 6 o'clock in the morning or anything like that.
No.
So the ticket does say that it is in excess of seating capacity and does not guarantee admission. So do get there earlier. Yes, exactly.
But again, it's not there's people who line up on Tuesday night to pick up their Wednesday coded ticket. And every year I'm just why?
Because they want to be able to select front row or something?
I mean, you don't really get to select your ticket either. First of all, just so we're clear, it's not like they go, you get seat 1, you get seat 2, you get seat 3. It's we have these random stacks of tickets. How many are in your group? We're going to hand you a random stack. So.
And then just pay attention to your ticket, because each taping time is different each day. So it'll tell you when theater doors open to be let in and when you cannot enter anymore.
Yeah.
And I saw something about standby, but the tickets do not stay that. So.
Right. There is the standby for unclaimed tickets. That's what people do tend also to line up very early for. That's never a guarantee. It could be anywhere from 20 standby tickets to 100 standby tickets, depending on how many people don't show up. So, your mileage may vary on the standby line. You can win multiple days. If they pick you for more than one day, you can go ahead and go. There's no limit on how many days. It's just number of tickets per day.
Yeah.
And I think, was there any? Oh yeah, someone mentions that the Spreckles Theater has no air conditioning. They do truck in an air conditioning truck, but it's not exactly powerful for all that's going on in that theater, unfortunately. And then we're going to get back to some of the other off-sites, which is going to be the DC Universe Experience was announced today. And that is an off-site for the brand new streaming service, DC Universe. And this is going to be across the street. I think it's going to be right in front of is it near the Omni and the Hilton? Near those.
It's
right?
and the Hilton Gas Lamp.
Hilton Gas Lamp. Okay. And this
Their
is
corridor.
multiple rooms or areas, including exploring Dick Grayson's Titan's Loft and uncover clues about his whereabouts. Experience the mysterious creations of Dr. Niles Calder in the Doom Patrol lab. There's some Swamps Thing, Young Justice Watchtower, Harley Quinn, Court of Owls for Batman. I mean, just multiple things that you can do in this room. And the event will be open from 9:30 to 7 each day, Thursday through Saturday, and then from 9:30 to 5 on Sunday. And you will only be able to line up until an hour before closing. And there's a sign up where you can register, but all that does is speed up your on-site registration time. It does not give you any special access. No special line, no VIP line, nothing. It just means you don't have to spend as much time signing up while you're there because they're going to make you sign up.
Yes.
So we also have Leica Live coming. They had an awesome experience last year and are moving into an even bigger venue, which some of you might know, Dick's Last Resort, the restaurant that closed over a year ago. I'm so thankful that someone is using that space. So it should be great. And they actually open this Friday and are open through Sunday of the convention. So if you are in town early, that is definitely something to check out early and cross it off your list. We don't have hours for that just yet, but that should be coming soon. But walking past it, it looked like a great setup already. So I can't wait to see what they have inside.
Did you just say we don't have hours? We do have hours.
Oh, we do have hours? I don't have hours.
They're really random too. They're different.
They are. Yeah. It's like 2 to 10 on Saturday, but 11 to 5 on Sunday. It's really weird.
But yes,
probably events and things going on, maybe.
Yeah. We'll put those hours up. I think we have them up on our site, and
we do.
And Kim
I'll check there. Fine.
And
I am also talking about Adult Swim on the Green. Announced this morning that they're returning, bringing a state park setup this year. And mainly focusing on evening events and screenings and fan activities, open in the afternoon starting at 4 p.m. They will have a camp store open starting at 8 a.m. Thursday through Sunday of the con as usual. And you can find the whole schedule on our site as well. And more details about all the amazing things like chainsaw wielding wood carvers.
I saw a lot of people talking about the fact that the Pillows were going to be doing a concert there as well, which apparently is something that the kids are going to enjoy.
Yes.
That's Saturday at 8:15.
I have no idea who that is, so I'm like, okay, sounds awesome. Go enjoy. Nerdist House is announced, and they're going to be at Sparks Gallery at 536th Avenue, and they're going to be running from Thursday through Sunday, and it's basically going to be all things Nerdist with a bunch of appearances of Nerdist show creators and hosts. But in addition to that, they will also be hosting the Robo Romance. The Lost in Space robot will be there in an installation in the Nerdist House, and you can get a interactive photo with the robot including being able to get special romantic backgrounds for enamored fans.
Is that the new one?
Yes, the new Lost in
Yes.
Space robot. Exactly.
That was up at the Netflix event in Los Angeles. It's a fun little. He didn't move though. Maybe this one moves. Puts its arm around you.
And then
backgrounds like that.
I just wanted to point out too that Nerdist editor-in-chief Rachel Hine is clearly doing Comic-Con the right way. Her meetup at Comic-Con is basically, it's the Alpha Book Club happy hour, and you can join her for a glass of wine. And I'm like, all right, you're doing Comic-Con the right way. Clearly, we're doing it the wrong way.
We go in for beer.
Yeah.
Aww.
Aw. All right.
All right, what's next?
I'm not on the ball.
It's Raps.
Raps. I don't even know what raps we were talking about here, but
the ones
somebody
your
earlier-
husband took photos of.
make him do things. Thanks, Dan. So we've got DC going up on the Hilton gas lamp as of this morning, and we have Kingdom Hearts up on the Hilton parking garage, which is always usually the first one to go up. So it looks almost complete yesterday. Kingdom Hearts and Tomb Raider from Square. We think Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
I said that correctly.
Yes. Yeah, Square Enix is pretty much who I can guarantee you is the one who paid for this, because that's the only thing that's in both
common.
of those. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
You're
It's
welcome.
very lovely.
So those photos from my husband are up on our site. And then moving on to ice cream.
Yes, moving on to ice cream. So good news, DC is bringing you ice cream at Comic-Con this year, which how amazing is that? So they will be at the Experience, which I'm told is no longer called the Experience at Comic-Con, which used to be the Petco Interactive Zone. But basically, DC has a couple of ice cream flavors that you can actually find in stores nationwide. But if you want to get a taste before then, you can actually head to Comic-Con over here, and they will be giving out free samples. And the little setups for they'll be giving them are actually modeled after like the ice cream cartons, and they look super adorable. So I'm excited about that.
We're getting, just speaking of the Experience really fast, we're getting kind of piece by piece what's going in there.
I'm told more news tomorrow.
Oh, exciting.
Yes.
So we have,
Games.
this one's probably my mistake putting it in the wrong section, the Final Space VR adventure. That's on the show floor, not as an offsite. But
Correct.
on the show floor, there will be the Final Space VR adventure and shop. So there you go. That was my part. I'm easy.
Woo! It's okay. All right. In actual offsite news, so Vikings and Project Blue Book are both coming back to the convention, and unfortunately this year it looks like History is not doing their offsite for Vikings. Instead, Vikings is going to get the booth on the show floor, and what Project Blue Book is going to get is also over at the Experience, formerly known as Petco Interactive Zone. There will be, what do they call this? I don't think they call it anything, but basically you can go and they'll have old UFO cases that you can experience. And
That's the town's bed and breakfast, and it's forest. It seems kind of, you know, they're setting up the town to walk through. So that's amazing. And a campsite lounge in the activation for relaxation. So something over there. I know that'll be right near the Amazon activation. So place to kind of hang out and maybe sit down at this lounge that Hulu's got going in.
all right, I think we have an interloper asking a question in our chat room. Mark Evan here is asking about Quick Draw, which if you watched our Sunday podcast, we talked a lot about Quick Draw, but it's not an offsite, but a panel. So I'll go ahead and give a quick little spiel about this. Quick Draw, if you don't know, it's basically a bunch of awesome artists like Sergio Aragones. I'm going to mispronounce everyone's names. That's okay. Scott Shaw, Lalo Roz, and then hosted by Mark Evanier. And basically, they just draw all kinds of wacky things. That's Saturday, 11:45 a.m., room 6 BCF. Go check it out. Also in that same room will be Cartoon Voices, I think 1 that day, and then Cartoon Voices 2 the next day. So there you go.
Mark says he'll move it off-site for you if you want. You can come join us and draw while we're handing out little cups of water.
Totally. Or Mark, you can show up on Wednesday at McFadden's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and we will be there. All right, back to offsites. USA Network is, instead of bringing Mr. Robot this year, they are promoting the upcoming The Purge series, which is based on the film series, and basically, they are taking over the Padre store at Petco and instead turning it into the Purge City store, and it's going to be stocked with all kinds of stuff to help you survive the night, including, what did this say? Emergency candles, masks, and energy drinks. And then they'll also have like some product demonstrations and photo opportunities for you to check out. So it should be cool.
You know, I'm very impressed, and we just kind of confirmed that it will be, in fact, the Padre store. That was the address, but I was like, they can't move everything out of the Padre store. No, they are. So that's very impressive.
It is, actually.
Padres. Go Padres.
All right, James.
Oh, is it my turn?
It is you.
I'm going to talk about the Dragon Ball North American Tour. That's going to be out behind the Marriott Marquis. It's actually, if you remember last year, it's where Nerdist had their offsite with the laser tag. And it's basically something that's going to be traveling around, and it's going to have a bunch of exclusives for the tour. Like, I think we mentioned these before. It's a bag, some trading cards, trading card game exclusives and deck, and a lanyard, and a fan.
The fan's new.
Fan is new. But you can also stop at a booth inside at 3545. But you can check out a bunch of stuff at this this offsite. It looks like it's basically a giant tournament area.
Yeah, instead of like a tournament, they'll have like life-sized characters for you to take photo ops with and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. What's next?
I'm gonna do a bunch in a row. We've got the Facebook Watch series called Sacred Lies Escape Room coming to the Experience over by Petco Park. It's kind of about cult series, and I don't know much about it, but I love escape rooms, so that's always fun. You also have puzzles, go deep into the cult's dogma, and if successful, complete the confirmation ritual and become a member of the community. And so that'll be there all 4 days of con. And then next we've got the Impractical Jokers Block Party, returning to Petco Park for, I believe it's 3rd year. And that is Saturday, July 21st, starting at 1 and late until 9. And I didn't make it to this any previous years, but I heard it was a great time and just lots going on. And if they're using the whole space at Petco, there's plenty of room for everyone. So that's really something good to check out.
And it's like all day too, which I think is awesome because then you can just kind of swing by whenever you have time.
Then we've got thing I didn't open. Oh, AMC. So they're bringing Dead Quarters back across from the Hilton Gas Lamp. And I know nothing else. This is their panel schedule. I have the wrong thing open.
That's okay. So Dead Quarters, the information's in there.
There's also the Better Call Saul. We knew about their premiere because there was a contest for winners to go to that, which is Thursday, and that's the theater at Horton Plaza, and it's closed to the public, but
yes. So Dead Quarters will be AMC's Zombie Fan Zone located on Martin Luther King Promenade in front of the Hilton Gas Lamp Hotel. This year's offsite will feature an immersive experience with a curated walk through the settings of both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, including The Sanctuary, and a thrilling 22-foot zombie slide.
Okay.
So,
and photos with Lucille.
yes. Yes. All right. Sci-fi. So Sci-fi is bringing back basically the dance parties. So last year's dance parties were kind of co-branded between Nerd HQ and Sci-Fi. This year it's just Sci-Fi, but I think it will be just as fun. Those will be at the New Children's Museum Friday and Saturday nights at 9 p.m. I've been told that there will be an RSVP link, but it's not up. But I've been communicating with Sci-Fi's team, and we should have that information for you soon.
Do we know what days those are going to be? Is it Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, it's Friday, Saturday.
Cool.
All right, and then FX Ambition was also announced, and that is the annual FX shows over on the lawn outside the Hilton Bayfront. And they will be bringing the usual suspects, Legion, American Horror Story, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Archer, and Mayans MC for a variety of exhibits and installations, basically like art shows and getting photos and things like that. There is a pre-registration, which will receive a free. You will receive a free Exhibition tote bag, which you can customize. The registration is not open yet, and it's going to be opening when? This Friday? Is that what we think on the 13th?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it should be opening at some point on Friday, and we will let you know as soon as it opens.
And the hours are 12 to 6 on Thursday, 10 to 6 on Friday and Saturday, and 10 to 2 on Sunday.
Yeah. And then Kevin Smith and the IMD boat return, and they will be at the Fifth Avenue landing behind the convention center again. And basically it will be Kevin Smith hosting interviews with celebrities that you don't get to step onto the boat to watch. We have confirmed that there will be no fan access this year to get onto the boat, but if you want to see the interviews, they will have a screen over there for you to watch live.
All right.
From the docks.
That's about it for those offsites. We answered the question about when FX. Now, there was a random listing in the signings of the Jeff Goldblum thing, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, because you're going to hear the bad side of this information. That was actually for a panel. If you read the description, it's for a panel, and what they have to do is they list the ticket draws for the Horton Grand panels as signings in the signing exclusives, because that's how they get them into the system, so you know where they are and when they are.
Well,
So-
it is like a drawing.
It is, yes, but it's not for a signing, it's for the panel. So you just have to read the description and care, because the link on it underneath will say it's for a signing, but inside the description will say panel. This is a panel that is not happening. I'm not sure if it's listed as canceled yet, but we're pretty sure it's not happening because it's not on the schedule.
Yeah.
So there you go. But it would have been cool to have a Jeff Goldblum panel.
So what you're saying, James, is that life did not find a way.
Life did not. That is very good. Yes.
All right. All right. We had a couple other questions. I'm going to go out of order real quick. We were asked for the Saturday signings on the portal, since we don't know times, do we think we know if they'll conflict, specifically WB versus CWTV, worried about conflicting with my number one. Okay, so I did learn today that we will not be given, normally WB releases like, here's our signing schedule with actual times. I've been told that because the signing is working differently, they're not pre-announcing the times at all this year. But here's the good news for the person who asked this question, Amelia Samet. WB and CWTV, pretty much all the same network, pretty much all of the WB booth. So those should not conflict because they will be happening in the same place. The only ones that are different are sometimes the WB home entertainment ones. There is like a second side to that booth. So like the Scooby-Doo and the 2001: A Space Odyssey signings, those could theoretically be happening at the same time that a larger WB signing is happening at the same booth. But you're not going to get like Supernatural and Riverdale at the same time. So
there you go.
That's what I got for you.
We have a question from Terrence asking, how chaotic do you expect the front of the convention center to be, given that one must have a badge for that particular day to have access? You mean driving up, or the crowds of people who don't have a badge who will be hovering in that area? I think it's not going to be that bad. The driving will be in the morning, of course, because everyone's going to be funneled into one direction, essentially. Yes. But the actual crowds, I mean, I don't know why people would just stand around near the barrier just standing and looking, because it's just going to be a bunch of congoers wandering around. Not going to be that exciting. Go enjoy downtown.
It's really nice we're going to have all that extra space with the roads closed.
Exactly. So
get from one side of the convention center to the other without being stuffed onto just the sidewalk.
Well, not only that, but like not having to like wait for traffic, I think is going to mean that you don't necessarily have like the huge pockets of people quite as often. Like hopefully it will be a little more dispersed.
Yeah. And then Scott asked, any word on Mary Jane's dress up this year? I think we have an answer to that, right?
Kim?
I don't know about Mary Jane's. I haven't heard anything.
I think that we do know it is not sci-fi.
That's
that is the extent of what we know.
I don't think it was last year, right?
No, it wasn't. It was that Sky Dance Interactive.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that in any venue being used. But we should ask.
Yeah, Jonathan K mentions that he might be the only one looking forward to the Scooby-Doo signing, as Bobby Flay and Giada De Laurentiis will be on that panel. Do we expect them to be on the signing? It might be that they show up, because they usually have the people on the panel at the signing.
It's true, they do. But you can always go to the booth and ask, especially like the Warner Brothers. If you find a Warner Brothers Home Entertainment employee, and they will help you. And they're always running around. Go find Matt Patterson somewhere. All right. Are we moving on to exclusives?
We are going to move on to exclusives. And Carrie, why don't you
start us off? Cool.
Well, we all are, but.
Hi, dog. Okay. So Mondo has announced a couple of exclusives. And I believe last week we already talked about the Big Trouble in Little China vinyl. But what we learned today is that if you were not lucky enough to get selected in Comic-Con's lottery for the Matt Taylor Marvel poster, good news. Mondo's booth is actually going to have a variant available on Thursday, July 19th. So keep an eye on their Twitter for updates on when to head over to grab that. But honestly, I think the variant looks better than the original. So
there you go.
There you go.
All right. So then we have coming from, believe it or not, more than one day before the convention starts, we have the reveal of some of Marvel's exclusives, and they're doing another series of the Scotty Young pins. And the ones revealed so far are MODOK and Magneto and Venom with Spider-Man and Doctor Doom and Miss Marvel. So these are, as always, really cute pins. They look awesome. And as always, there's going to be more. And there's going to be some kind of tiered structure where some of them you will get as 4-packs, and some of them will be only if you spend a certain amount of money. And all of that kind of information, all of that will be revealed sometime closer to the convention, I'm guessing. Possibly even the day of.
There was one year where like they didn't announce anything. You just showed up at the booth and it was like, what do you got? Yeah. That was a fun year. Thanks, Marvel.
And then we have Hasbro with even more exclusives because they don't have enough, apparently. We have the Transformers trading card game, which is not released yet. It's coming out later this year. They're going to do an exclusive 4-pack of cards with cards that will not be available at retail. No word on pricing as of yet. There will be a Transformers Bumblebee A-Kick scooter from Razor. And it's basically just a Razor scooter that's branded for the Transformers. And then we have the Star Wars Forces of Destiny Chewbacca and Porg set, which is awesome. The Chewbacca is electronic, and the Porgs have a nest with a couple of Porglings in it. They're so cute. And then we also have the Marvel Studios Red Skull with Tesseract. Those all look awesome.
Yes, they do. Though people have been pretty hard on that Chewbacca exclusive.
Well, you know, it's just
All right. Kim, you want to talk about some cool retro exclusives?
Nickelodeon. We have Turtles from their upcoming series that we talked a bit about with Kevin Eastman, the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is coming in November or September. So figures from that, and a Lisa Frank SpongeBob pouch, which is kind of amazing. Oh, that's not in the picture. Oh, no, it is. Oh, there's so many. Go back.
There's a ton of stuff.
All right, so we have Rugrats, Reptar, I see, and Rocco. So Reptar is from Kid Robot. Retail for $50. Action Vinyls, exclusive Rocco and Tommy Pickles are $15 each. And then go forward, please. We have Zim and Gear figurines that are $15 each, and many pins that are $10 each. And I love that Patrick one so much. Camping Rocco, which will be, or the Nick box, which will have Camping Rocco. So the Nick box is $50. It's part of their subscription box that everyone seems to have, and this is their July box that you'll be able to buy at the convention with Rocco and Hey Arnold, Helga, and a Camp Onawana. What is that really? Camp Onawana? Water bottle. I hadn't seen that yet. That's very exciting. So that's from Salute Your Shorts. I love that show. And a reusable lunch bag from Pasture Puffies.
It's pretty cool. Some pretty cool stuff.
They've got a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah, they do. They always do. All right. Speaking of cool stuff, our friends at Toddland have added a couple of exclusives. This time for American Dad, they've got some shirts, they've got some pens, they've got some notebooks. You can go pre-order them now. I'm pretty sure they will probably be closing pickup fairly soon because the convention is 8 days away. So if you want them, make sure you go order them now.
Then we have Lego. You want to handle that, Kim? Or you want me to handle that? I'll take it.
You do it.
Okay. Lego announced their first, is it their first minifig? The hand,
yes.
And
yes,
it's Sheriff Deadpool, which is pretty cool looking. And then they also announced last week the one of their other exclusive sets, which is the Lego Marvel Superheroes Ant-Man and Wasp, a 218-piece set. It'll be $40, and of course, it's one of the items you can get if you win the Lego thing in the Portal
lottery.
So entered in the Portal lottery, which I think closes in 2 days.
Yes.
12th is it at noon?
Yeah, it's at noon.
All right, there you go.
So Lego has exactly one more item to announce, which is going to be their DC minifigure. But I think we know everything else from Lego.
And then we had a surprise exclusive, which is going to be free. And it is at the Lionsgate booth. And it is a John Wick Steelbook with a code to get the movie for free on a digital download. And it may not be a physical item except for the case, but it's an awesome case, and the ticket inside is gold, and it just looks really cool. And you can pick one up at the Lionsgate booth, 3635, during the convention. More details coming soon, if like maybe how they're handing them out, or if there's times when you can go pick them up and such. We don't know information about that, just that it's going to be free, and it's going to be at their booth, and it's cool looking.
Yep. Absolutely. And then our friend Patrick Ballesteros had another exclusive, and he announced Artist Bones, which is a Coco Can You Hear Me Now series. They're super cute. We also revealed his final schedules for the prints, which is basically each day of the convention he'll be releasing a different normal exclusive print and then a different Can You Hear Me Now set. So we unveiled that schedule, and then we also started to unveil his Comic-Con debut of a new Avengers Infinity War set, which looks really cool, and we'll have 2 more of those tomorrow.
There you go. So check it out on the site. And then we had, let me do a rough count here. either full releases or additional releases from another 15 or 20 different companies and booths, including UCC distribution, right, Carrie?
Distributing, but yeah.
Distributing.
Yes, distributing. They had some Overwatch stuff. Udon, they have pre-sales up right now. That's cool.
Loungefly added a, which backpack was it for?
Overwatch. A lot of Overwatch stuff.
Yeah. Monogram added some My Hero Academia. It's not an exclusive, but you can pick them up at the convention, and they're going to be very limited in number, like 200 of them or so.
Yep. Super 7 unveiled a whole bunch of stuff, like all of their t-shirts for the booth. I think we're still waiting on apparel for the pop-up store, unless it got announced today and I just didn't notice, which is entirely possible.
And Bandai announced some pretty cool exclusives, including, they're going retro as well, some metallic blue and purple Tamagotchi devices.
Yeah.
$40 each. They'll be in limited quantities. A die-cast armored Baymax, which looks awesome.
It does.
And the Power Rangers Legacy Zeonizer, which is show accurate and wearable.
And I know, that's crazy.
$20.
And then we have so much other exclusive news on our site. So much. I'm just going to like name some of these. Entertainment Earth, DKE, Fat Rabbit Farms, Image Comics, Toynik, Yesterdays, Kid Robot, Elhofer Design, who does some amazing, cool, like geeky high-end fashion stuff. Alex Ross Art, Toki Doki, Genuine Haha has some cool prints. Tamashi Nations, we got some more information about their exclusives this year. IDW unveiled all of their stuff, and you can pre-order some of it. Oni Press unveiled theirs. Inside Editions, we got theirs. Acme Archives added something. Mobius models went out for pre-sale, and there's even more. So much more on our site. So much more.
So, do we have any other questions we need to answer now?
Let me just mention that the search feature on the site is your friend.
Yes. Yes. If you want to know something specific, go click on that little search button.
Many times a day.
Yeah. If you're looking for something specific, don't go scroll back through like 30 pages on the exclusives tag. Don't do it. All right. I think that's about it.
But any other information that you need in the next 7 days, you can tweet us at SD_comic_con. We will be manning the Twitter 19 hours a day. Is that a good number?
It's a good number, but I do just want to warn you, as we get closer to the convention, it's really hard to answer all of your questions. So I know there's a lot we've been missing lately. So just, I guess, I don't want to say keep tweeting us because then that just like triples the amount of tweets I get. But if you have like a really good question that you don't think there is an easy answer to, or like that we probably haven't answered 20 times today, like please ask it again. You can also email us. Yeah. But we're doing.
You can use the search feature too to search for your question first before you ask
here on the site first. Then ask that question on Twitter.
This should be your
couple of quick questions from Corey. Anything from Quantum Mechanics? I think that they have some exclusives this year. Again, on our site.
We announced them, yeah.
Recently, I think it was all revealed earlier, so it wouldn't be something we're talking about this week.
How will Entertainment Earth handle their Twin Peaks signings ticket draw? So the way that Entertainment Earth does their signings is basically you go to the booth that day and you'll enter kind of like a lottery, but it's a really easy lottery. You basically just give them your email and your name, and then closer to the signing, they'll email you and say, hey, you won, and then you can come back and get the signing. So.
Yeah. And Jermaine asked about, did we talk about the Jeff Goldblum signing? We did. You're going to have to hit rewind. It's about 5 or 10 minutes ago. And
the gist of it is it was a panel, and at this point, we're thinking it's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, as life did not find a way for Jeff Goldblum, most unfortunately, but maybe next year. All right.
And hopefully to Hall H.
Yes, hopefully to Hall H and not Horton with 240 people. All right. I'm not even going to read that one because there's no point. We have all of the announced autographs that we can possibly find in our announced autographs list. We list booths. We usually don't list the majority of the signings up in the sales pavilion, but we do our best to keep that list updated. James?
Oh, hey, if you know someone who still needs badges, which you have about a week to grab them, there are contests. Check out our site for the contest hub and see which ones you may qualify for and enter them. Hurry.
Yep. Two Blog, Two Furious, Gaslamp Drift is happening on Wednesday, July 18th, which is next Wednesday, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at McFadden's. It's free. You don't need a badge. You don't need a ticket. You're just going to walk in the door. It's going to be really chill. It will just be us talking to you. Beer is cheap there. There will not be karaoke, so I'm excited about that. And you can just hang out with us. We're cool people. We'll have a couple stickers from NinjaBot and a couple buttons. And you can just, yeah, talk to us. We're kind of cool, right?
Kinda.
And then at some point during the convention, we may or may not be giving away cups of water.
Just cups of water.
Get excited.
Seriously, you people don't understand. It's water. It's essentially necessary for life, and we are going to give it to you.
We're giving you life.
Maybe. We may just let you all die. I don't know. We'll find out.
Could go either way. Prize Wheel also returns this year. We have all kinds of amazing stuff this year from all kinds of amazing companies like Mondo, BBC America, Hasbro, Kid Robot, Toddland, Symbiote Studios, Hallmark. I know I'm missing a ton, but you can find all those announcements on our site.
Okay, so this is the final SDConCast before Comic-Con. We'll be back for a post-show wrap-up on Tuesday the 24th at our normal time, 6:30 Pacific. First of all, let me thank Carrie for joining me every week to make sure that you guys actually get the right information, because otherwise I would just be talking a lot and randomly spouting things just for fun. Also to Andy and Kim and Robert and Sean from the uBlog team, who all joined us throughout the season to help out with episodes. Thank you to Beth for producing the show all season, doing the slides and editing and all of that. To all of our guests who came on this year, thank you so much for giving your time to come onto the show and talk to us about Comic-Con and all the things that you did talk to us about. And finally, to everyone who's listened or watched, thank you. We do this for you, and we appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and helping us to get the information out there. We really appreciate it, and we will see you at the convention next week.
Which is just bananas. But seriously, though, like James said, like especially to you guys who watch the podcast every week, like actually being able to have you guys ask questions and interact with you like this is way more fun than just James and I sitting here talking to each other. So thank you.
Although I do tend to forget that there's like people watching.
I know. I always forget like people actually watch this.
I'm like, oh wait, should I have shaved today?
See, I'm more like, should I have said that? Nah, it's fine. Like 5 people are watching.
Nah.
It's fine.
Right. In closing, you can sign up for our newsletter. We will be sending out exactly one more before the convention and then maybe a wrap-up one. I wouldn't count on that.
Sorry. What are we going on here? Carrie,
okay.
Find more of your work on the internet.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Carrie Dixon, but not so much this week. You can mostly just find me on the blog Twitter. Kim, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I am Outside Comic-Con on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And do we do James? James?
Yes.
Where can we find more of your work on the internet?
We're wrapping this one up in a stellar fashion, aren't we? We're going out on top.
We're all so delirious.
I am everywhere on the internet at Dan Regal, and you can check out geekshotphoto.com for links to photography from my wife and I. Whew. I already thank Beth. But let me thank her.
Okay.
Again. Thank you,
Do
Beth. She puts together the slides, edits the show, and makes sure I am sitting here, fed and ready.
You're welcome. Yay, Beth.
Yes, thank you so much, Beth. All right, so we are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening and watching, and everybody,
Go.
Warma.
see you all next week.